Boxing is at a turning point. A bill in Congress right now could completely rewrite the Muhammad Ali Act, the law that's protected fighters for 25 years. Some say it could finally fix boxing's broken system, while others warn it's a power grab that hands control to one company. Today, I'll break down the pros and cons of this act and my personal take on what it really means for the fight game. The bill is called the Muhammad Ali American Boxing Revival Act, which is hilarious because no one really used it anyway, so revival is right. It would create something new called a Unified Boxing Organizations, or UBOs. These would allow promoters to run their own titles, rankings, and title fights without oversight from the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, or WBO, which they're crazy systems. Those are crazy companies anyway. Supporters say it's boxing's chance to become more structured, similar to what the UFC does. But what exactly is a UBO? A UBO is a league-style governing body run by a promoter who also controls their own belts and fighter rankings. In simple terms, it lets a promoter become both the sanctioning body and the league, controlling matchmaking, title, and contracts all under one roof. Think WWE, AEW, UFC, stuff like that. But here's the caveat. There's mandatory qualifications for a UBO, which eliminates most promoters. To qualify under federal law guidelines, a UBO must have 1, a year-round performance institute and training facility. UFC, WWE, the only two that I know that have it. Federally approved health and safety program, including strict anti-doping protocols, at least $25,000 in injury coverage per fight, and broader health insurance for contracted fighters. That's not bad. That is not bad, I think, if they can do that. But then why aren't they employees? I don't get that. Proof of international broadcast and sponsorship deals. That's different. A compliance office to oversee contracts, testing, and fighter safety. Now, on paper, this sounds like good safeguards. But here's reality. Most traditional boxing promoters can't afford this model, not because they're run poorly. In most cases, they're run pretty good. They're run tight ships, but because unlike the UFC model, they give fighters the majority of the revenue. That leaves almost nobody except the TKO Group and its WWE and UFC Performance Institute and Global Network, and possibly a Saudi-backed promotion able to realistically qualify. Now, here are the pros. The supporters are claiming that there's more structure, no more 4 sanctioning bodies all arguing over who is the real champion. Minimum pay. Fighters are guaranteed at least $150 a round. That's not much because up until about 2001, my fighters are getting like $100 a round. So that's not really, $50 more is not really that much of an upsell. And then 4-round fighters, 400 would go to 600. And I could probably get fighters 600 in a 4-rounder fight anyway. Better health coverage. This is what I like. At least $25,000 in injury coverage plus stricter health and anti-doping standard. That's pretty good. That ain't bad. I don't know if that goes into what most contracts are right now. And also big investment potential. Networks and international partners may finally invest in a stable league, because if it's so unstable where fighters are dropping out and they don't know what they're going to get, the stuff that goes on the outside, networks are going to shy away from that. But now they might come in and invest in this company like this. Now, I've seen talented fighters go broke chasing titles that meant little because there were just 4 champions in every division. So on paper, this bill looks like it could finally end that chaos. But there's a bunch of cons to this. Number 1, the loss of fighter rights. UBO fights would not be protected by the Ali Act. That means no purse transparency, no right to challenge restrictive contracts, and no guaranteed fairness in the rankings. So if you got a personality, but you're not as good, you may be ranked higher because the promoter has the right to do that. Promoter power grab. Instead of sanctioning bodies, promoters would control belts, rankings, and contracts. Fighters would be locked into exclusive deals, UFC style. I never got this because of the WWE and the UFC model. They're not 1099. They're not 1099 employees. They're not employees at all. It makes no sense. Below minimum pay. Now, although $150 a round sounds good, but for many fighters, it's far below what they already make. It risks becoming a ceiling, not a floor. And that's never good. I mean, like I said, in 2000, around 2001, my fighters are getting $100 a round then. So it's not really much more. It's only $200 more in a 4-round fight. The monopoly risk. Because most promoters give fighters the majority of the revenue, they can't afford the UBO model. Only TKO, built on keeping a larger cut, can realistically check the boxes, and that's a huge red flag for me. Here's an important fact most people don't know. Fighters barely have used the Ali Act since its inception in 2000. A handful of cases can made headlines, like Antwun Echols suing his promoter over hidden fees, Jeff Lacy challenging a promoter but not disclosing the finances directly to him, and Golden Boy Promotions going after Haymon under the conflict of interest provisions. But here's the truth. In almost 25 years since its inception, we've only seen a few significant Ali Act cases. Most significant fighters never take it to court, either because it's too expensive or because they fear being blackballed from future fights. That's why this new bill feels so different. Instead of improving a law that fighters are rarely used, it strips away the protections entirely and hands even more control over to promoters. Here's where I stand. Boxing is an absolute mess. Too many belts, too many politics, and fighters often left powerless. So yes, something needs to change. But I don't like when the political figures behind this bill happen to have connections to the very companies that stand to benefit the most. It's not reform. That's a blueprint for a monopoly. If TKO ends up controlling the belts, the rankings, and the contracts, we'll get bigger events, but we'll also risk killing the independence that's always defined boxing. The question we all need to ask is, will this bill clean up boxing, or just clean out the fighters who don't sign with the right company? So it's simple. Boxing needs reform badly. But reform has to be about the fighters, not about the promoters because of the money. Because the fighters are the ones in the ring, putting their lives on the line. This bill could fix a broken system, or could build a new one where only one company holds the cards. And that's a gamble we can't ignore. If you care about the future of boxing, make sure you stay informed. Hit that subscribe button and I'll give you all the updates as they come in. We're talking about the future of our sport here. I'm Zapata. Thanks for watching.